We didn't give Derrick White enough love for his role in beating the Pistons, so we'll do that today. And how Brad Stevens made it so everybody can be as unselfish as they need to be right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beantown, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis, recap the madness. Every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Clutch like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Primetime dapping D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you every Monday through Friday this week, Saturday and Sunday as well. So full week of podcasting plus all next week podcasts free for you. So go ahead and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch a show on YouTube. Get into that comment section. It's the best podcast comment section on the internet. People starting threads, talking to one another. It's so much fun to see. So go ahead and do that. I'm John Karalis. I have been covering the Celtics team for about 20 years at this point. I'm doing it right now as a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've also written this book, Built Different. You can buy Built Different, which celebrates Banner 18. Plenty of pictures. Yeah, it's more pictures than words from me, which is why it's such a good book. $30, signed, personalized, within reason. But whatever you want me to write, I'll write it. I'll sign it. I'll ship it to you wherever you are in the United States. Great holiday gift, so go ahead and check that out. FanDuel is bringing you today's show. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You get started with $150 in bonus bets. If that $5 bet wins, visit FanDuel.com to get started. Later on, Khris Middleton is making his season debut against the Celtics Friday night for the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll talk about that. In the second segment, we'll get into Brad Stevens, now how he created this environment for these wonderfully unselfish, malleable, do whatever needs to be done Celtics to be that team. But first, we got leftovers from this game against the Pistons, including Derrick White, D. White being awesome, and we're going to do it with the awesome Tom Westerholm. Tom, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm always glad to be the leftovers. You know, after
sometimes the best part of the meal.
I mean, it's one of the best TV shows of all time. Like, yeah, The Leftovers are great. Yeah.
I don't know that show.
Oh, okay. Well, you should check it out.
Okay. All right. Good talk. Good talk. Find Tom's work over at Boston.com. Derrick White was pretty good. And you know what? I didn't give him enough credit for being as good as he was against the Pistons. Lots of love for Jaylen Brown. Very well deserved.
Yeah.
He has grown into just incredible, higher heights than I ever thought. Porzingis was great. We talked about all this, but Derrick White, I think, when you look at the shooting numbers, you're like, tough shooting night, right? 26.5%, 3 of 11 from 3, but 11 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. That was okay. It was an easy night for. If you only watch the ball go in and out, you don't realize exactly how great a game that he had.
Yeah. And it's funny now that he's such a marksman, right? Because now it's like the people who do only watch the ball go in and out are like, oh, yeah, Derrick White's really good. It's like, well, yeah, but it's like the other stuff too, man. Like, this guy's awesome. Yeah, I went back, watched all the assists. I thought one of the things that really stood out to me was that out of all the assists, 7 of them were in the paint. The other 4 were all threes, right? So it's like, pretty typical Celtics thing where it's like threes and in the paint. But like the other thing was that all of his in the paint ones, there was one dribble, and that was Porzingis's post up. And I loved that. There were so many like little drive and like dump offs. Like he's starting to have such a good sense of like, people crashing into the paint, people crashing around him, how the play is developing around him. He's really good at that. And I think kind of underrated because the Celtics do run such a kind of, egalitarian, like, okay, this guy brings the ball up this time. This guy brings the ball up this time. This guy grabbed a rebound. Horford grabbed a rebound, so he's taking it now.
Yeah.
So when like Derrick White gets a chance to just kind of rock out as the team's point guard, it's like, yeah, he's good, man. I think we talk a lot about like guys, and we're going to talk more later in the show about guys who like leave points on the table by being on this team. I think Derrick White leaves a lot of assists on the table by being on this team and not having the ball in his hands, because when he runs a pick and roll, it's perfect. Like, he has great feel and great passing, and when he gets to the paint, he's got a great feel for everything happening. He's a special player.
How good a team do you think Derrick White could just be the primary? He is the number one ball handler, the guy who gets the usage, the 30% usage rate. How good a team can he be that guy on?
I think we're going to find out in the next couple of years.
Yes.
But probably pretty darn good would be my.
The answer is yeah, it's a really good team. Like, it's so wild because all we know of Derrick White is nice player for San Antonio. Nice player, but then comes to Boston and becomes like
shaves his head.
Yeah, just bald Derrick White is just, hey, let's start watching that Hall of Fame case over here for bald Derrick White. But
I
yeah,
remember there was that video. He shaved his head. There was like a video in the summer of him dunking on somebody, and somebody tweeted just kind of joking like, "Wow, bald Derrick White is acting different," and then he like gets to the season and just acts completely different.
Yeah,
he's like, "This is
he
a
really
new
is."
player.
Yeah. And look, as one bald guy to another, I just want to tell him, like, it's a good look. It's a good look.
It's a good look. Looks good.
I did joke with him, like, when he did it. I was like, one season with me around you on the beat, and you decide to cut it all off. And he was like, "You're an inspiration." Oh yeah, no. He's really like, he should be everybody's favorite player. He's like one of the seriously like nicest guys. One of the joys of being in the locker room is I actually get to see Derrick White interact with his teammates, and like, he is just sarcastic, ball busting, just like the type of person that you actually like want to be. Like, when a bunch of dudes are together having like that, like snapping on one another, like, that's him. And you're like, yes, you know what, Derrick? I will have one of those Derrick White ales. Let's me and you just go hang out at the bar. Like, he has that personality. Like, he's a very likable guy. Remember that someone did like a Voltron animation going into the finals last year? I don't know if you saw that on social media. And they're like playing. They went to like Jaylen and Jayson and Chris, and everybody was like, they're highlighting their personality quirks. And they went to Derrick, and he's like, "I'm the likable one." And like, that's 100% who Derrick White is. But he's also really damn good. And I think the thing that makes him honestly the most dangerous player is his floater, because when you can run him off the line, and okay, that's fine. Once he's got that live dribble and he's heading towards the rim, because he is so dangerous with that floater, it becomes, okay, well, what do I do? Do I step up? Do I hang back? Because the more you hang back, the more he's just going to get into a comfort zone. If you step up, that's the lob. That's where you find Porzingis. That's where you find Luke Cornett, like he did. Like, he's so dangerous in that mid-range area that you have to react to him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what opens up a lot of the passes that you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%. That's how that opened up the Jaylen dunk, like all that stuff yesterday that he was involved in. And I mean, it's, you asked Mazzulla yesterday about the Jaylen rim reads, right? Like, it's like that's another one of the things that you put the little tally in Derrick White's, big positives column. And it's like all those things, they work together so nicely for such a good player. It's like, it is the shooting, it is the pick and roll acumen, and then it is like, the rim reads and the float, the touch on the floater, also the passing when the floater is taken away. It's like, he's offensively, and that doesn't even take into account the fact that he's one of the best defensive guards in the NBA. Like, I don't know, like him, Drew Holiday, do you really have a preference? I don't. I think they're about equivalent realistically. I think that's he's so good, dude. He should be an all-star. I don't know. He really should be an all-star. He's so good.
I do have a preference. I think Derrick White's the better player.
Yeah, I mean, he's a better player.
He's a better player than Drew Holiday. Like, and
I mean, defensively, do you think he's a better defender than Drew Holiday?
I think he does more. Like, okay. I think Drew Holiday is a better because he's stronger.
He's so strong. Yeah,
he's very strong. So he's better at the point of attack. But then once Drew is beaten, he's beaten. But he doesn't get beaten as often. Like he's getting beaten more often now. But in general, he doesn't get beaten very much because when you let him be physical, you can't get by him. No one navigates a screen better than Drew Holiday. No one. So he is better. You can say he's a better perimeter defender than Derrick White, but he does not chase down as well as Derrick White. He does not block shots as well as Derrick White. He's not as quick. And then offensively, then you flip it to the offensive side, and Derrick White is just so much more dynamic. Yeah. Which is why when I said, like, what kind of team can he be the number one point guard? Like, I don't want to get way too ahead of ourselves, but when money needs
for the second podcast in a row.
Shed, like there's going to be I think one of those two guys is not going to be here for much longer. And I'm not looking at Derrick White, you know what I mean? So that's
and again, not to get too far ahead, but it's like because you just want to keep that value, like no matter what you're getting back, like screw the trade value or whatever the value is, like you got to keep Derrick White. He's too good. You have
to. You absolutely have to. Like I think that if you keep Jaylen, Jayson, Derrick White, then like you're totally fine.
You're
totally fine.
1000%. Yeah.
You know, which it's again, this is. I feel bad going down that road. This is not what we're the December 5th. 6th conversation, but just bank it. It's something over the summer or whenever it happens. But the only thing I want to say is Derrick White is that good.
That's it. That's it.
That's what it comes that good that's what I want to keep as far as big money guys. Those three are the ones I want to keep. And by the way, Jaylen Brown being in that mix 2 years ago, I might not have said that, but Jaylen Brown is so good now that it's just, I think that those three, and Jaylen Brown is part of that. Brad Stevens creating this unselfish environment. Why is this environment perfect for what the Celtics needed to be? Brad Stevens made it happen very simply, and that's coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Check out our new newsletter, LockedOnDaily.com, LockedOnDaily.com. Go subscribe. Get this newsletter delivered directly to your inbox every afternoon with a Celtics story, a national news story, a fantasy story, links that you need. It's all in one place. That's what a good newsletter does. And this is a good newsletter at LockedOnDaily.com. Get that new daily Locked On Celtics newsletter. Brad Stevens has created this environment. I touched on this yesterday, and I said, oh, maybe I'm going to touch on this tomorrow. We can flesh this out a little bit more. So here we are. Basically, every Celtic is under contract. I don't put this the wrong way, but every Celtic of consequence is under contract, and Al Horford is
People
not.
might feel like you put that not the right way.
Yeah, Al Horford is not under contract next year, but
Yeah.
I say it that way because he's not going anywhere. Who's signing Al Horford, right? So he's basically
Philadelphia 76ers.
They could use him, but like Al, what I'm talking about here doesn't even apply to Al Horford because this is just who he is anyway. He's never going to not play.
I'm so sorry. Can I make a quick side other thing? Tobias Harris went 6 for 9 from 3 against the Celtics yesterday. And It's like, if you're a Sixers fan,
yeah,
I'm sorry, man. You got to just be sick to your stomach. Like,
yeah,
that was very funny.
That's true. He should have found a way to like troll the Sixers. Like, I don't know, do a ring the bell celebration or something. Do something like that. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
But look, Jaylen under contract, Kristaps under contract, Derrick White got a new contract, Peyton Pritchard has a new contract. Everybody, Sam Hauser is getting a new contract next year, starting next season. All of these players in the rotation are under contract for next year. Again, minus Al Horford, who will be, unless he decides to retire. That means no one on this team is worried about getting paid. Yep. No one on this team is worried about his touches. No one is worried about that next contract because Sam Hauser's next contract, it's the next 3 years. Peyton Pritchard's contract all set for the next few years. Like this year is, in terms of stats impacting your contractual, your next contract, inconsequential. Doesn't mean anything. It's a throwaway season in terms of worrying about your stats in relation to your contract. What a joy that must be for Joe Mazzulla to know every guy here is just, what do you want me to do? I'm good. I'm getting paid. There's nothing that's holding me back. That Brad Stevens didn't play like hardball, didn't play restricted free agency hardball. He just, you know what? CBA is what it is. We're just going to pay everybody. Yep. And you guys handle it for the next year or two and do whatever you need to do.
Yep. I thought it was really interesting, Kristaps Porzingis yesterday saying like that, obviously I would prefer to get 40 shots. I would rather have more shots, but, fascinating answer. He's an interesting dude, but fascinating answer because he's like, dude, it's very honest. It's like, we're winning games. It's great. I would rather shoot more, score more. Like, of course you would. That makes sense. Who wouldn't? An excellent basketball player. Like, he's still happy. He's still standing in front of the baseline crowd, doing this and and everybody's losing their minds. Like, of course he's thrilled. Everybody's happy. Everybody's winning. Everybody's paid. Like, it does. I mean, it makes so much sense. To everything that Brad Stevens did makes so much sense because you just worry about it when it's time to worry about it. And I'm sure they have plans. I'm sure they have, kind of a whole whiteboard of scenarios and everything else. But for right now, you don't have to worry about that at all this year. That's big time. I think next year next year is going to be interesting no matter what. I think, Porzingis is interesting next year, right? Because at that point you are talking about, a guy who admitted yesterday that he would rather have 40 shots. A guy who's going to be looking at, hey, I need a new contract, like that. Hey, that starts to get interesting. But for now, and that's one of the reasons. Certainly it's one of the reasons why we're seeing them just excel at this level, right? It's one of the reasons we're seeing everybody is like, even guys who I don't know exactly what Peyton Pritchard's points per game is right now. It's not as high as you would think it was based on how he's been playing, but who cares? It doesn't matter because he's going through his stretch right now where he is scoring 20 points a game. Sam Hauser, pretty soon seems to be rounding into shape a little bit here. I suspect that over the next couple of weeks, we'll probably see, Sam Hauser have a few more, like he made 7 threes tonight kind of games. And like there'll be that stretch from him. And then there might be a stretch from Jaylen where Jaylen kind of picks up the slack from Tatum a little bit. And then we'll have another one of those Tatum MVP stretches. And it just kind of, that's why this team is 18-4 is because they've just been kind of cycling through guys killing it night to night. And that's fine. because everybody's paid. So like this is how, like, I don't know, a GM or a coach just dreams that a team would look over the course of a season, and just kind of all came together from Brad spending Wick's money. So good job, Brad.
Yeah. Timing is everything. And like, you have to have the right guys, right? Peyton Pritchard just wants to play.
Yeah.
And he did ask for a trade because he wasn't playing. And he's like, I want to play. I want to play basketball. Send me somewhere that I can play basketball. Well, now he is playing, and literally whatever you need him to do, he'll do. Al Horford, same way. Derrick White, same way. Drew Holiday, same way.
Note on Pritchard, you said the other day, like, you were like, oh, like, he's the most beloved guy who's ever asked for a trade request, right? But it's like, that's because everybody understood why he wanted it so much.
Yes.
Like, yeah, dude, I get it. Like, you are good. Yeah, of course. Like,
yeah.
Brad Stevens, I'm sure, said the same thing. It was like, yeah, dude, I get it. But like, I'm going to keep you. Sorry.
Trust me, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But every one of these, the other thing that Brad Stevens has done is make sure this locker room is full of guys that, of course, everybody has an ego, but so in NBA terms, egoless as far as, at this level. Derrick White, again, just a normal dude. Like, he's just the most normal dude, and he's happens to be an amazing basketball player. Just top to bottom, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, like, both high quality, just like individuals, people. They're both like never in trouble, but like enhancing their communities. Like, they're both doing big, important things off the floor. They are thoughtful, just incredible people. Al Horford is one of the most selfless, best teammates ever. So not only did he lock people up, he locked up some of the highest quality individuals. After that, Tristan Thompson season, that was, I think, when Brad was still a coach, but that was the pivot to, like, you know what? No more of these guys. No more of this.
See another Tristan Thompson again for the rest of my life.
I don't want to see another one of these guys that sit there and calls the regular season, horse bleep. I don't want to have any of that stuff anymore. And we're doing like quality individuals. You got to pass like a personality test.
Yeah.
And that's all that they've had. And as the president of basketball operations, that's what he's brought in. So it's not just, hey, we've paid everybody. It's we've paid quality people who understand team dynamics, their roles, but are also good enough to be like, when you need me to step up, I can do more.
Yeah, for sure. A quick side note to your point about like, oh, these guys are just like regular dudes. These guys are, somebody posted this on some social media website, but there's that famous tweet that's like typical QB tweet. Love my teammates. God is good. RB tweet. Keep grinding. Tight end tweet. Derp. And then wide receiver tweet. The enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife. I will say that as far as like normal people go, Jaylen 1,000% is the enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife guy. Like,
yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is. But also, I think he's a good dude. And he's a good dude that is who thinks differently and does not trust people like me at all.
Well, yeah, you're the enemy and you speak.
I'm the enemy who speaks kindly and holds a knife. That's, that's all right. I understand my place in Jaylen's world, and I don't. If the situation were reversed, can't say I'd be any different. So I can't blame him. So, that's okay. I try to hide my knife well, I guess. I don't know. Let's talk Celtics Bucks, which is happening on Friday night, and it's happening with Khris Middleton. We'll talk about that when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel, our good friends over at FanDuel. They're America's #1 sports book, and they are giving you, new customer, $150 in bonus bets. All you got to do is place a $5 bet and win. Okay? Just make it a good one. If you win, you go to FanDuel.com, you sign up, You place that $5 bet, you win, you get $150 in bonus bets. They give you everything you need to place your live bets if you want on the NFL, NBA. It's all in one place. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you go check out the latest stats, play-by-play, and a whole lot more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Gamble responsibly. They have tools to help you do that, right? Whatever you think you can afford, because you just consider it like a night out. If you can spend 50, then that's your budget. $50 for that week, that month, whatever it is. Set your limit, set your budget, and then have fun with your $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's at FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. I am going to be there with Jake Madison. We're recording this before the games, and then after the games, Jake and I will cover all of the games on a busy Thursday night. So go check it out wherever you get your podcast, wherever you found this one. Find Locked On NBA. One of the games tomorrow is Celtics Bucks, and Khris Middleton returns. Now, I don't know what to expect from Khris Middleton. I feel like this could be one of the most consequential. I'm using the word consequential. This is my consequential show. One of the most impactful, important returns. He can change the East if he comes back and is any sort of. I see your skepticism. If he is anywhere close to what he used to be. Now, it's probably not going to happen against the Celtics, but who knows? Maybe he's going to feel his best against the Celtics. But at 11-10, the Milwaukee Bucks have made up some ground. Yeah. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've made up a ton of ground.
Good.
Yeah. They're okay. So you could say, all right, they figured some stuff out. They're still not where they probably want to be or need to be. And the Celtics are still going to punish the hell out of Damian Lillard defensively. But if Khris Middleton is there to take some of the burden or pre-switch, and like if you're trying to like have some sort of like funky defense and you involve Khris Middleton and he's anything sort of what he used to be, all right, that makes it harder. Is it better than the Celtics? No, but it makes it like, okay, this is going to be a hard team to beat. And I do think they're going to be a hard team to beat because Giannis and all of those guys.
Yeah.
So I do think Middleton, I'm not saying he will be, but he has the potential to be very impactful.
Yeah. I balked at the most impactful kind of like return because Porzingis came back. Like I think that's
fair. That's fair.
That's quite.
They were also good. The Celtics were also good, and now he just makes them better and potentially unbeatable. But like the Bucks were like not great, and he could make them like really good.
Well, and I mean, I think the thing that's currently making them good is Giannis, right? Like that's like that. As things are starting to like,
he's okay.
Turn around. Yeah, he's like the guy. The guy's probably. I think he could stick in the NBA a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about like changing the East, I think to me, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the East. And look, I could end up eating my words on this, but I mean, I do think that it's like they're changing the East in that they might change who the second best team in the East is, right? Like, I don't know. I don't think that like, I have gotten to a point now with pretty much every other team where it's like, if you have a guy the Celtics can target, I don't love your chances here. Like, right. I don't love the Cavaliers' chance with Garland. I don't love the Bucks' chance with Damian Lillard. Obviously, like there's just such a blueprint for the Celtics. It just makes their job so easy, and like, you know, they're too good. When you've got these little holes, they're just like, all right, they just burrow right into it, and you know, explode from the inside. I guess I don't know.
Sure,
it's just so hard to limit the Celtics when they can just beat somebody one-on-one.
So it's funny. I do a weekly Q&A on Boston Sports Journal. One of the questions was, how do you defend the high pick and roll for the Celtics? Like if you were Joe Mazzulla, how would you defend the high pick and roll if it was run against you? And the answer is simple. If it's a fully healthy Celtics team and Kristaps Porzingis is setting picks at the bottom of the logo, you can't. It's impossible. It's impossible What do you do? Literally, what are your options? You blitz Jayson Tatum. Okay, Porzingis wide open for 3. You go under. Okay, Jayson Tatum steps into a 3. You come up to touch, like Porzingis rolls, and he's good enough to either he's going to finish, or you send somebody over and he'll post that person up, or he'll pass. He can pass out of that. And you've also, by the way, have Drew Holiday, Derrick White, and Jaylen Brown out in the perimeter.
That's
what?
It's so funny that was one of my takeaways last night. Was like it was the play. It was the Derrick White Porzingis pick and roll where Porzingis got the post up on Tim Hardaway Jr. and he made the 6-7 foot shot. And like when the Celtics started running that play, right, it was like Derrick White and Kristaps Porzingis with Peyton Pritchard at the elbow. And it's like, okay, so to be clear, right, you have Derrick White, who's just throwing fireballs right now. So like, not last night, I guess, but who's like this season is just like making everything he shoots. You got him going over the screen, so you got to deal with that. And then you got Porzingis rolling, and like they switched right away, right? So it was like, now Porzingis has Tim Hardaway on him. Even if Derrick White had kept going, then Pritchard would have been setting the screen. Pritchard screens when he makes contact this year. I think Michael Pina had a nice piece on it. Like his screening numbers are obscene this season. And like that pick and roll didn't even involve Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Like Jaylen Brown was standing in the corner. It's like, there's nothing.
There's nothing you can do. Like the whole thing was Jaylen Brown was running the offense amazingly.
Yeah.
Against the Pistons. And you don't involve him and they run an amazing play.
Yeah. Like, and I genuinely have so much respect for Giannis Antetokounmpo as a player. Like I do. I think Khris Middleton's really good. I think that I do think it matters. I think it's going to make a difference. It's that's a good team that is rounding into shape as, their second or third best player comes back. That matters quite a lot. But the Celtics are such a wagon. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're going to have to prove it to me. Like I'm not going to I'm not going to believe in another team until the Celtics are eliminated from the playoffs. At that point, absolutely. Congratulations. You're awesome. But until then, I'm just going to I got to see it. I think this team's
we're dealing with, and this is now the arrogant portion of the podcast. We're dealing with scenarios where, honestly, again, this presupposes that everybody's at their absolute best. The Celtics at their absolute best are just untouchable. Yeah. And what I'm saying is, we're looking at potential for like, okay, could something, that like it's the equivalent of, well, I could give you a paper cut and that could get infected. Yeah. And if you're not careful, that infection could spread and then you're in trouble. Like, okay, but it's also a paper cut, which annoying and it hurts and you have to deal with it. But if and it's true. I do have to wash it and clean it and, maybe put a Band-Aid on it. So it's not nothing, but as long as I do like a few little things that I'm supposed to do, it's not really a big deal. And but on the other side, it's like, but it could be a big deal. Like I guess theoretically it could be. And we're all looking around for like what could be a big deal. And Khris Middleton could be a big deal. Maybe it's more than a paper. Maybe you'll need a stitch. Okay, great. I'll go get a stitch and clean it up and I'm fine.
I just have a hard time seeing Khris Middleton coming back and sepsis setting in. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think that's where it's headed. But
the thing that I'm sure people have already commented on the YouTube page before we even got to this point is like, can he even get back to right? Can he even do it? Can he even be the thing that he needs to be for the paper cut to turn into sepsis? Can he be that guy? Because that's what I'm saying. Like if he gets to be that, and he's what, 34, 33, double ankle surgery. And you check the age,
33.
33. There you go. Whew, all right.
That always reminds me of that one tweet that's like, I'm 35. I have the rest of my life ahead of me. Sports announcer. He's 32 and he's out on the court. A miracle.
Seriously. I'm going to be saying similar things about LeBron James later on tonight on Locked On NBA. But yeah, that's the question about Middleton. And so if he just is a 33-year-old former all-star, who is great and should be remembered as a great and a champion and a critical player to that championship, but he's not what he used to be, then if he just brings you another guy that you can kind of attack him too now, then that doesn't really do much to move the needle. So
no.
All right.
No, to beat the Celtics, you have to be perfect at every position defensively. So good luck.
You have to be. Yeah, and you have to hope that they miss or get arrogant. We can be arrogant. I can sit here and be like, the Celtics, paper cut, blah, 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 blah. And people like Bucks fans can listen to this podcast and be like, you're an arrogant jerk. And be like, yeah, I get to be. I don't have to play them. I don't have to sit there and follow a game plan.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not even really trying to be arrogant at all. It's just you just got to show me for me to I've just seen the Celtics beat too many teams now. I don't. If you beat the Celtics, good job. Then yeah, sure, absolutely. But I got to see it first in a series, not a one-off. Miss me with the entire regular season. I don't care. They're barely trying on defense unless they're playing the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And they're 18-4.
And they're 18-4. No, dude.
They're so good, and they're clearly not trying. How many? There's probably
I've seen a little bit of I don't know about the Celtics defense this year on the socials, and it's yeah, dude, they're not trying. I don't know.
They're not trying. They're putting up 120 points a game. So they're yeah, all right. We'll give up 115.
You're going to score 120. All right, we got you. Here's 130.
Okay. Here's 130. Here's 130 for you. Yeah. Peyton. Okay. Sam, can you hit a couple more threes?
Peyton, can you stop missing?
All right.
What? Oh, yeah, I can stop missing. Fourth quarter. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, man. But here is my final word is any opposing fan that is here that wants to yell at me in the comments, tell me you wouldn't trade your whole team for the Celtics whole team and say the exact same stuff that I'm saying. You would, the Milwaukee Bucks would be like, we'll trade everybody we got for all of the Celtics. And if the Celtics did it, you'd be like, oh my God, we're going to win a championship. You'd be saying the same stuff. Because comeuppance will be coming.
Yes.
The Celtics will be rebuilding in 3, 4, whatever, how many years it is. Don't worry. I will be sitting here in this seat doing a podcast somewhere a few years from now talking about how important that NBA Cup was. And this is going to be so great that the Celtics are in the NBA Cup. It gives them a chance to win something. And
gives these young guys something to play for.
Yeah. We'll do a whole segment on that Duke game from last night because I watched it and that Cooper flag, blah, 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 blah.
I'll be watching college hoops again. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's right. So that's all coming. So if you're a fan of another team, don't worry. It's all cyclical, especially with the CBA. So we get to be arrogant jerks right now because the Celtics are champs and they're get a very good chance of being champs again. In a couple of years, you want to come back and throw it in our face? Fine, whatever. That's going to be part of the territory. We'll be doing draft shows, and I get to take a vacation in May instead of having to go to Cleveland to watch them play basketball. I get to go or I'll be at the Auerbach Center watching draft workouts. Life is going to change. Don't worry about it. Until then, let's do it up. Let's just do it up. Right. Tom Westerholm, appreciate you as always, my friend.
Appreciate you, man.
And I do appreciate all of you who are watching, who are listening, especially as we go way over time and I get yelled at by the higher ups about why did you do a 40-minute podcast? Because I can't shut up about these Celtics. So please join me on this journey. Subscribe to this podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. You can be arrogant about the Celtics too. And if you're in one of the opposing team, whatever. Have fun over there. Have fun in the comment section. Enjoy yourselves, but be respectful to a degree. and share the podcast. Share it. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.